What's happening, everybody? Welcome to my backyard. I'm Chef Dennis Berry and this is Culinary Fitness, and this is my favorite time of year. We have the sun is out here and we have the grill and it's smoking right now. We're up to 550 degrees. I'm hoping to get that thing to 600 degrees, and we're gonna put some spicy maple glaze on top of those pork tenderloins. And how excited are you right now? I am very excited. We're also gonna have some grilled veggies and fruits, including pineapple, okay? All right, cool. So now we're cutting this pineapple up here. Let's get this rosemary out of the way. We're gonna have that on there too. So yeah, I wanna get this pineapple on, and the sugar on the grill, the sugar coming out of this pineapple is just unbelievable. You're gonna love this. I am so excited. Cool, so, you know, there's a bunch of different ways you can grill this pineapple up. So look, I peeled this pineapple here, and now I'm just gonna take it. You can see there the core was right here. We're just gonna cut around that, right? Can you see that? Look at that. All right, cool. So we're just gonna take, now we're gonna take the other side down, the other side, and the other side, and you're left with the core, see? All right, so we can get rid of that core, and then we have these just big chunks of pineapple, right? So I'm gonna just make some nice 1/2 inch, 1 inch slices here. This is so awesome, all right? So look, I have the grill hot here, it's smoking at about 600 degrees, and I'm just gonna take our pieces here and just kind of get them down on the grill. Let's get some good grill marks. And then after we get the grill marks, I'm just gonna put them up on the top rack and let them kind of do their thing, right? Look at this. Get those on here. The smell is unbelievable. You can smell that sugar caramelizing right now. Check this out. Here's another thing we're gonna have. We're gonna have some grilled apricots, right? So these are only in season a short time. They're not easy to get all year. But look what I did. There's this pit in the middle, right? So I just took my knife and I went around. Let's do that again because we're gonna do another one, right? Just take my knife, go all the way around. It's real easy. They're real delicate. Let's take this pit out. Now you have your pit, and now you have your perfect apricots here, okay? Let's get those on the grill. And again, we're not gonna like kill these guys, right? We just want them to get some heat, get a little caramelization going, right? With that direct heat on there, okay? And then we are gonna be loving these things. Check this out, I got some grilled strawberries. Are you guys excited yet? I am very excited. All right, look, let's get these strawberries on. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. So now we have pineapples, apricots, and strawberries on here. The other thing we're gonna have is we're gonna have some grilled onions, right? So let's just, here's how we're gonna cut up our onions for grilling. So I like to have whole round onions, right, from the grill. So now look at this. I just made a little slice through the skin, and that way I could take it all the way around, and then we'll be left with just the whole skinless onion, right? Now you see that we're gonna take the skinless onion here, and we're just gonna make some nice little pieces. Look at that. Now we're gonna have whole pieces of onion. We're gonna grill those guys, and they are gonna be delicious. Now, onions are sweet, so you know, if you let them cook and the caramelization comes out, they're just unbelievable, guys. Now let's get these guys on. In fact, let's transfer these fruit, the pineapple and everything. You see those grill marks we're getting? Aren't those delicious? Look at those. Oh my God. I gotta get in there. Cool. So you see, once they have the grill marks like this, that means that the sugar's coming out and they're getting nice and caramelized. So what we wanna do, once that happens, we don't wanna overcook these guys, right? So like especially these strawberries, we're gonna get these right up top. We don't wanna overcook those because those are gonna burn. And that's gonna be important too when we go to cook our pork tenderloin, because we're putting on a maple Dijon glaze, right? With fresh herbs on this. And we don't wanna put that on until after the cooking process because the sugar in there is gonna burn. So it's the same thing with these pineapples and the fruit here. If you leave it on too long, it's totally gonna burn. Now let's get our onions on here. Now what I wanna do is I'm just gonna take a little bit of olive oil here, and I'm just gonna squirt a little bit of olive oil on these onions. And that way when the grill hits it, they're gonna just flare up a little bit and get a nice little char. So watch this, you ready? Did you hear that sizzle? Oh, guys, get some cooking done, right? So if you want, you could do that on a sheet pan and then just transfer. You could do all this in the kitchen, all the vegetables, and transfer those over, okay? So now, what I have here is I have our pork tenderloins. Right. So here's what we're gonna do with our pork tenderloin, right? The first thing I want to do is I want to give it a little bit of olive oil, okay? So it needs a little bit of oil. Now the pork loin, right, is less fatty. This has a nice fat, flavorful content, okay? So we're just gonna keep this very simple, right? I just want some salt and pepper on here and a little bit of garlic, granulated garlic, right? And we want to season it pretty well. You don't want to slack on the seasoning because a lot of it gets cooked off when it hits the grill. So let's give it some pepper and some crushed red pepper because we want a little spice in this one, right? And then I have some granulated garlic, right? I like the granulated. I'm not crazy about garlic powder, right? It just has a different flavor and it burns real easily, okay? So look, we seasoned that side. Now we just flip this over. We're gonna do the same exact thing on the other side. Now that's a beautiful pork tenderloin, okay? That's all you need here. We're gonna put it on the grill and then in a little while, because this only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to cook. So I'm gonna get all that other seasoning that was on there. If you want, you can marinate this beforehand. For this application, it's not necessary. All right, let's get this guy on. Beautiful, all right? So that's gonna sit for a little bit. And while that's sitting, the next thing I wanna do, I wanna get our zucchinis ready, okay? We're also gonna have grilled zucchini. That's very exciting. I love grilled zucchini, okay? So to grill this, to cut this properly, I like to cut it on the bias, the angle here, okay? And then we're gonna have more grill space, right? If we were to cut it straight down, we wouldn't have as much space on the grill. So look at that, it gives us a nice big chunk here. And I wanna also cut them fairly thick. I don't want paper thin ones because then they're gonna cook real easily and almost like burn, and they're almost kind of small. So we don't want that. We want to taste the zucchini. It tastes delicious, right? So the same thing here as with the pork tenderloin. I want to keep the seasoning on here really simple, and then at the end I kind of toss them with a little bit of a dressing, and it really gives it this outstanding flavor. But to keep it simple for now, I just want to do a little salt and pepper, and we got these guys on the grill, right? So look, I put a little olive oil in there, and then just a little salt and pepper, right? So look, these guys are ready. So let's put our onions up top. Yum. You see that color? That grill marks on the onions? Those are perfect. That's what we're going for. See, you could do this all at the same time. If you want, you can grill your vegetables ahead of time. In fact, you can grill them ahead of time, and you can keep them all week long, right? You could just munch on them out of the refrigerator whenever you want. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, while that stuff is cooking, I have some rice here, right? So this is some brown rice that I cooked. There's a video on how to cook brown rice on the website, so check that out. Really not very hard. But to keep this very simple also, right? We're grilling here, right? We don't wanna overkill on anything, right? We wanna keep everything as simple as possible. So look, I have the brown rice in here. And what I want to add to that is just a little bit of salt and a little bit of crushed pepper, right? Look at this, I have this thing that my pepper mill sits in, and it has all this extra pepper on the bottom. I'm just gonna use that. Then I want a little bit of oil in there. I don't want too much oil, but just a little bit. And then I have some vinegar here. Now the vinegar really just gives it a nice bright taste, right? So I'm just gonna put about a tablespoon in there. And it really just helps it pop, okay? So now we have that. Let's just give that a quick little stir. Let's put that aside. And we're just gonna chop up some parsley to put in there. And the oil, it's kind of like making a dressing. You're tossing your rice in a dressing. It's really delicious, guys. Really simple, really delicious. You're not masking the flavor of the natural food, okay? That's what we're shooting for. So look, I have my fresh herbs in there. Let's put a little rosemary in there too. Just a tiny bit. Rosemary's pretty strong, but we're gonna have it on our pork. So we wanna have it in the accompanying dishes as well. It'll taste really nice. So there's a little bit of that. So look how easy that was. All of a sudden we had this nice rice dish that the rice was really plain before that. And all we did was just give it a little bit of help. And now it's nice and bright and fresh. So beautiful, look at that. Can you see the color in there? And the shine? That's excellent. Okay, hey, you know what? I forgot, I wanted to put a little bit of spice in there. Cool. So now we have a little crushed red pepper too. All right, look at this sear that we got on the pork tenderloin. Can you guys see that? Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. That's gonna seal in all those juices. Look at these zucchinis we got. Awesome. Now, we're gonna be garnishing our pork tenderloin with a little glaze, right? So here I have this bowl. I'm gonna put some maple syrup, right? And then also I have some fresh ground mustard, right? You can use a regular Dijon if you want, but I'm using a whole grain mustard. So let's just get that in there. See how easy it is to make a maple Dijon glaze? Not very hard at all. So look, I'm just mixing this maple Dijon glaze here. So it has the sugar in there, and it has the spicy mustard, and it also has there's like a vinegar in the mustard, so it comes together really nice. It's a full flavor, really easy to make. Maple syrup, whole grain Dijon mustard. That's it, except that I like a little bit of spice. So I'm gonna put some crushed red pepper in there, and I'm also gonna put some rosemary, okay? Because the rosemary and the pork tenderloin is just a natural marriage. It's really beautiful. So let's get that going. Yum. All right, so when the pork is just about done, and we're only gonna cook it to about 130 degrees, because when we take it out, it's gonna continue to cook. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, whoa, you're supposed to cook the pork to 145. If you feel that way, then you probably should. What I don't wanna do is I don't wanna overcook it, okay? So we're gonna keep it medium rare, and that's so it comes out nice and moist, right? We don't want to overcook anything. So look at this. Here's our Dijon maple glaze, spicy with a little bit of rosemary. Beautiful stuff, okay? So let's check out our pork and our vegetables. Look at everything here. Can you guys see this? Is that just unbelievable or what? So we got to get let's get this thing ready to go. So look, I have this beautiful platter here. So I'm gonna just take these apricots off because they're perfectly cooked. I'm gonna get these strawberries, put these over by the apricots. Oh guys, are you seeing all this? Yum, yum, yum. We're just gonna take some of these grilled onions here. I'm gonna get these right there. Yum. All right, now we have some of these incredibly beautiful pineapple slices. Put a couple of these here. All right, now we're gonna put some rice down. Look at this. All right, look at this. We're just gonna splash a bunch of this rice down right in the middle of the plate here. Cool, so our pork is just about done. So what we wanna do is we wanna go back and garnish this. We wanna put our glaze, not garnish. Sorry, we wanna put our glaze on there, right? So I'm gonna move this aside. Look at this. Can you guys see that? Look how beautiful that looks. Fresh grilled fruits and vegetables with some nice bright herbed rice, brown rice. Now, let's garnish, let's glaze our pork tenderloin, right? We're gonna just give this a nice glaze. See, if we were to do this first, it totally would have burned. So we want to get the flavor, but we don't want it to burn, obviously. So let's do that. Yum. All right, here we go. So let's check the temperature on our pork now, because I'm excited. I'm ready to eat this stuff, man. This looks and smells so good. Plus, look at this. Can you guys see that? How beautiful does that look? I'm very excited. All right, so this is at 130 degrees. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sprinkle some rosemary on here, some fresh rosemary that I just chopped. And you know, a little with the rosemary goes a long way. It's very strong, as a lot of you guys know. Now I'm gonna flip this again. Look how beautiful that is. I'm gonna glaze it again. Let's rest there for one more minute, and then for garnish, look at these beautiful green onions. I love green onions with my grilled pork. It's delicious. So let me move these out of the way. We're just gonna give a little chop here. These are gonna get sprinkled over the top of the pork tenderloin. And we are styling, guys. Styling. All right, let's get this guy out. She's done. I'm gonna let that rest here for a minute. So look what I did. I threw a jalapeno on the grill here. Look at that. It's blistering like a roasted jalapeno right there. So we're gonna let this meat rest. It's important to let your meat rest, right? So all meat. So when you take your meat out of the oven, what happens is when you put it on the grill or on the stove or in the broiler, whatever you do with it, the meat, the muscles in the meat, they seize up, right? That's not good. It's good for cooking, but when you go to cut it, before letting it rest, the juices spill out, okay? So what we need to do is we need to let it rest, and then the juices disperse evenly throughout the meat, okay? So that's what we're gonna wait to do. You know what? You can let this thing rest 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes even. So let's let it rest for a few minutes, and then I'll come back and I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm gonna garnish it, put it on the plate, and we're gonna eat. Hold on just a second. All right, guys, check it out. We're back. Look at how this is glistening. Can you see that glaze on there? In fact, I'm gonna just put a little bit more on there. The meat has rested now. It's been about 6, 7 minutes. Really, you can let it rest for another 10 minutes if you wanted to, right? You can put a little bit of foil over it. The cooking process keeps going on, and so it continues to cook, which is why we took it off at 130, because it continues to cook, okay? So let's just get on this, right? So let's take our fork and a knife, and let's cut this puppy open, and we're gonna serve it. Look at how beautiful this is. Can you see that? See, it's not overcooked and brown. It's perfectly medium rare. We're making these nice slices, so we let it rest because we wanted the juices to disperse evenly throughout. Guys, can you see this? Look at that. Check it out. Unbelievable. Let's sprinkle this with our scallions. Can you see the colors on here? Unbelievable. And here's our roasted jalapeno. We'll just stick that right on top there. Guys, don't be afraid to try this stuff. I mean, I would love to help you, so if you're not sure or if something confuses you, just send me an email. Give me a call. I love to help. Let's have one more good look at that. Beautiful. Happy grilling, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.